There's something out there. It lives out in those woods. In the dark. Something that's come back from the dead.
We are the things that were and shall be again. We want what is yours.
Life! Dead by dawn. I'll swallow your soul! I'll swallow your soul! I'll swallow your soul!
Your mama should have taught you not to speak with your mouth full.
Now how did I go from this into this? I'm HixDK, and in this video I'm going to show you how I built my diorama for my 2 Evil Dead figures from NECA. But if you're not interested in watching the whole build, you can skip ahead to this timeline shown on screen and see the finished product. And for the rest of you, come get some. I decided to build a cabin from Evil Dead 2, more specifically the corner with the fireplace, because of the deer head that is included with my 2 figures. So the very first thing I did was to watch the movie, and every time the characters were in that corner I need to build, I would take a screenshot and print it out. But using your phone works just as well. Then it's off to the flea market, garage sales, yes, I even went through garbage, and of course my own work shed to find all the bits and pieces I need before I start building. First, we're gonna build a frame, and using your figures for measurement to get the door, window and everything else in the right size is a good idea. I have made a hole where the fireplace is going to be. This is to create an illusion that the fireplace goes deeper than it actually does. It's a little rough around the edges, so let's see if we can do something about it. I found some popsicle pins, which are extra round in each end, which will work perfectly as decorations. Before I can continue with the fireplace, I have to build a wall behind it, and for that I need some sort of planks. And I found out that when you're in a coffee shop or a 7-Eleven and you buy a coffee, you get these little pins you can stir it with, and it turns out that they are the perfect size for my wall. So each time I bought a cup of coffee, I would take a couple of extra pins with me, and I would get my wife and friends to do the same until I had enough to build my wall. It was only much later and after a lot of coffee, I realized I could just go into a hobby shop and buy a whole bag of the same pins. I kinda wish I knew that before I drank all that coffee. And just in time. Looks like my son just woke up from his nap. Now when the back wall are done, I can return to the fireplace. I'm gonna start with the top, and here I'm gonna use some matches and a wooden pin used to stir paint with. Okay, I'm gonna return and do the rest once the glue has dried.
You're next to die!
I got a feeling that evil has found me. Oh well, back to work. And now I'm gonna build the stones inside my fireplace, but since I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna take a picture and send to a friend who did the makeup in my zombie crawl video. He has also built a full-size alien in the same store where I bought my figures. So if anybody knows how to build a small fireplace, it should be him. And as I am waiting for his respawn, I can continue with the next wall. On our wedding day, my wife had this little white purse with a chain on it, and not long ago she wanted to throw it out because the chain had broken. But when I saw it, I realized I could use the end to build a curtain rod, so this diorama will actually have a little piece of my own wedding. Now the time has come to build a frame for the door and the window, and here I'm gonna be using some wooden pins, normally used to stir paint with.
I'll swallow your soul!
The window frame kept sliding, so I have to put something in to stabilize it as I'm waiting for the glue to dry. One of my buttons fell off. I guess I have to take a break and fix this right away. So, are you looking at me sewing? Or are you looking at the movie in the background? That's okay, I don't judge. It's a good movie. There we go, all done. But why is there holes in my bag? Now let's make the door. In the beginning it's pretty straightforward. But remember in the movie where Ash fires his shotgun making 2 holes in the door? We're gonna be adding those in. When it comes to the barricading boards on the door, they're actually not sitting the same place throughout the whole movie. In the beginning you can't open the door, but since they have a scene where he opens the door after he shuts the 2 holes, they had to move some of the boards. So I'm gonna make my piece as it is after he opens the door. My friend has returned with an answer on how to build my rocks inside my fireplace. He tells me I need to buy something called a carving form, so I guess I'm going back to the store where I bought my figures. The material here is very crisp and I have to be careful not to break it, but the idea is that you can carve and cut any form that you like, but it does require a lot of patience. All the pieces turned out great. Now I'm just gonna glue them into place. Because it's so crisp, I'm gonna use some glue as varnish to make sure it doesn't break later on. And the finished result is really good. Better than expected actually. Now let's lay down the floor, and here let's use some popsicle pins. At first I thought I was going to buy a whole lot of ice cream to get the popsicle pins, but then I was reminded of my previous mistake with the coffee pins. So I went into a hobby shop and, sure enough, you can buy a whole bag of them. So no ice cream for me. Alright, floor's all done. Now let's quickly do the foot panels, door and window frame. Now I thought it could be fun if the door could actually open, so I went to a hobby shop and bought these very small hinges that I'm now going to put on. I am not hanging up the door just yet, just preparing with some holes, because there is one thing I need to take into account first. In the movie, the left side of the room has planks, but on the right side it has wallpaper, so where does it go from one to the other? right here above the door. Now I'm not gonna be using wallpaper, I'm just gonna cheat a bit and use some glue. There we go, the door is up and we can actually open it.
Bum bum.
No, Ash, no! I have put together the barricade on the window using different wooden pieces, and I have tried to stay as true as I can on how they are placed in the movie. That's it for the box itself. Now let's move on to the furniture, and let us begin with the bookshelf in the corner. The problem with it is that it has all these wavy lines, so it's not gonna be easy to build, but hey, let's try it. When I was at the flea market, I saw this pair of earrings that I thought could be great to build my fire dog. Ironically enough, the old lady who had that stand kind of looked like Henrietta from Evil Dead 2. I waited till she was done with some customers in front of me. Then I asked her, "What do you want for this pair of earrings?" She looked at me, gave me the elevator look, stepped closer, took her hand upon my hand and closed it with the earrings inside, leaned forward and whispered in my ear, "You can have them for free." And then she smiled. I said, "Thank you," and then I left. Now, whatever she was thinking, I'm pretty sure she wasn't thinking that this pair of earrings would be used in an Evil Dead diorama. I'm pretty happy how it turned out. Now let's do some of the stuff on top of the fireplace. Oh, looks like we got a dead fly here. Let me just get rid of that. Excuse me. Starting from the left, we got a green candlelight on a plate, a red vase I believe, and an oil lamp. Maybe later. I got an oil lamp to make. I have gathered different bits and pieces, and for the bottom, I think I'm gonna go with the fidget spinner. Now I also need some glass for the lamp itself, and luckily I got a Christmas light decoration which has a small glass ball in the perfect size and shape. I just need to remove the glitter. So far so good. Now I'm gonna make the top piece. I need a thin metal wire to make 2 rings for the lamp, and here I'll be using the wire from inside the earrings. Remember those from earlier? And once they are bent into shape, I'll start putting the lamp together, slowly. You know, come to think about it, this oil lamp is made out of metal, glass, plastic and wood, which is also the reason why I need to paint some of the pieces as I go, because of the glass ball in the middle. Quite a tedious process, actually. Of all the things you will see me build in this video, the oil lamp is by far the hardest piece of them all. And damn it, why does insects keep dying on this? There is a small shovel leaning up against the fireplace. You can barely see it, but it's there. And for that, I'm gonna be using 2 pieces of plastic, one of which is a small ice cream spoon that I found on the beach. And I thought to myself, kinda looks like a shovel head. Just imagine, somebody once enjoyed an ice cream and threw the spoon away, and had no idea that one day it would turn into a small shovel in an epic Evil Dead piece. There is a framed picture of Annie Noby somewhere else in the cabin, but I do want to include it anyway on the bookshelf. For the picture itself, I'm going to take a screenshot of Annie in the movie where she smiles. And believe me, there are not many moments like that. It's a horror movie after all. Then I need 2 pieces of thin plastic, one to glue the picture on, and the other is some see-through plastic, which will give the illusion of glass. I can't quite make up what's on the top shelf, but in one scene, and one scene only, it's a statue. And that reminded me that when I was 7 or 8 years old, I found this little figure on the sidewalk who has been run over, and I took him home with me, and I think the time has come to restore him. So now this diorama has a piece of my wedding and a piece from my childhood. But the best thing about this figure is that he kind of reminds me of King Arthur, a character our hero meets in the movie Army of Darkness. So he's sort of like a little Easter egg now.
There is an evil awakened in this land.
For the light switch on the wall, I'm gonna be using a piece of wood, a small piece of plastic, which kinda looks like the light switch itself. For the wires, I'm gonna be using actual wires, not that I'm gonna be able to turn anything on. We will be returning to the light switch, but now I'm gonna try to make the firewood basket, and I had some trouble trying to find something in the right size and shape. Luckily for me, my wife has a cream which fits the bill. I'm sure she won't mind me borrowing it. Funny enough, the cream still works without the bottom. So I'm just gonna put the top half back. Everybody wins today. The mirror in the cabin is a challenge because I do want mine to look and work as a mirror. But where do I find one in that shape and size? Luckily my son has a toy where one of the feet kinda looks like the mirror. I just need to cut it off. But before I got to do that, I found a better one at a flea market, which belonged to a dollhouse. So it looks like my son gets to keep his toy. Well, I can't believe it, but it looks like we have reached that part where we need to start painting. I had to give it 5 layers of dark brown before it finally covered, and now I will move it inside the house to my man cave where I will do the rest of the painting. Turned out pretty well, don't you think? But we do need to move it out in the work shed to add one more detail before we can continue painting. Glass window. I got an old broken frame with some see-through plastic, which I'm gonna cut into size, and when the light hit it just right, it would look like the window has glass. All the things that goes on the wall with the door needs to be painted, but before I can glue it on, I have to go on a little road trip, because I need somebody to sew the curtains and the fabric that goes on the top of the fireplace. And the most skilled person I know who can do that is my mom. I bought these small metal rings in a hobby shop, you know, to hold up the curtains. This is some fabric glue to prevent it from unravel through time. I'm gonna spray some red paint on the door to look like blood, but I have to be careful not to overdo it and remind myself that less is more. So I'm having a little setback with the firewood basket. The paint will simply not stick to the surface, something to do with the plastic I think. So I'm gonna try use some sandpaper on the surface to make it a little more rough and then apply black paint by hand. That actually seems to have done the trick. Groovy. The time has come to head up to the evil forest to collect some wood for my firewood basket. Now that the firewood has been collected, I can start gluing more stuff together. I'm gonna soak the curtains in water, so when I hang it up, I can shape them in the form I want, and when it dries, it should keep that form. Now we are almost at the end, but we still need to make a doormat and a carpet. When it comes to the carpet, I didn't quite know how to make it, but luckily my mom found a coaster which has the right size and looks pretty close to the one in the movie. I guess we got lucky on that one. Now I am finally done with my Evil Dead 2 diorama. And for some of you hardcore fans out there, you might want to say, but Hicks, what about the rocking chair? And the Home Sweet Home picture on the wall? Well, the reason why I didn't make the rocking chair is because I wanted to make space for my 2 Evil Dead figures. And the Home Sweet Home picture I couldn't put up because the window was too close to the wall and the door was too close to the window. The reason I made it so is because then I had a perfect fit on my shelf in my man cave. What the? Oh wait, it's this shelf. Much better. But before it gets to retire in my man cave, it has one more stop. The store where I originally bought the figures have agreed on having my Evil Dead diorama on display. And to be honest, after all this time building it, I want to show it to people. I'm HicksDK, and for the rest of this video I will show you some close-up of the finished diorama.
Huh. Take a look at this. Oh, I'm losing it. Starting to slip.
I will eat the hair from your pretty head.
A little improvised surgery. You know, I'm not normally a violent person. Well, thank the big man upstairs, it's over. I just wanted to get laid.